What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Smell Good, Feel Good. I'm Cody, this is Stud Muffins, and this is Zephyr. First, I want to apologize for being away for so long. The reason is me and my fiance are working on purchasing our first ever home. So we've been very busy with that, along with work, and we're actually about to close on the house that we decided to buy, and I was planning on just waiting to come out with a video. Once I get into my new house, I think the setup will be much better over there. But it's my day off and I had the time, so I figured, well, let's just go ahead and come out with a video for you guys. So in today's video, I am going to be talking about the fragrance house Scentual Obsessions. Now, I reached out to the owner of Scentual Obsessions and just asked if he'd be interested in me reviewing some of his fragrances. I've heard some great things about them, and he was really cool about it, and he sent me some samples to try out. So for those of you unaware, Scentual Obsessions is a clone house, and they are probably the most affordable clone house out there that I'm aware of. They have very affordable fragrances, very affordable clones, and the bottles didn't look, whenever I was looking online and from whatever I've seen from other reviews, the bottles weren't the most high quality, but the owner is now in the process of upgrading his bottles and his packaging for his fragrances, and I think they look really great. I actually voted on the bottles that he's going to be using, and the ones that I voted for, he happened to choose those ones. So I'm looking really forward to seeing how his presentation and packaging is in the future. But anyways, he sent me a sample pack right here, and we've got 5 samples. So for the samples, we have a clone of La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. We have a clone of Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. We have a clone of Vodka on the Rocks from Bye Killian. We have a clone of Viking, Creed's Viking. And we have a clone of The Scent of Peace from Bond No. 9. So I don't have the originals on hand of what these are clones of, but I have smelled the clones either in the stores, or I know people or family members who have the originals of what these are clones of. So first off, for the La Nuit de l'Homme clone, I do have a decant of La Nuit de l'Homme, and I tested these side by side. And they are very similar, however, the clone, the Scentual Obsessions, is a little bit brighter or a little bit more fresher smelling. The original La Nuit de l'Homme is just a little bit warmer and a little bit kind of deeper smelling. And I do want to say that the owner told me that his fragrances generally take about 60 days to fully mature. And these aren't quite 60 days old. These are more like a month old. So 30 days old. So they're still maturing, and I might do a later review after they're finished maturing. But I will say that Scentual Obsessions, it's close, but it's not exact, and it smells a little bit fresher. And it's kind of funny. I had my fiance smell both my hands. I didn't tell her, like, one's a clone of the other. I didn't tell her that they're supposed to smell the same. I just had her smell them, and I said, which do you prefer? She said that they smelt similar, but she said that the Scentual Obsessions, she's the one, she said, this one smells fresher, and because of that, she liked it more. Now, one thing that La Nuit de l'Homme is known for is its poor performance. The Scentual Obsessions version, it's by no means a beast mode fragrance, but I did get pretty good performance out of it in terms of longevity. It's not a big projector, but I wore one spray inside my shirt whenever I went to work, and I think the last time I really checked to see if I could pick it up was about 7 hours later after applying, and I could still pick it up. So to me, that's much better performance than the current formulations of La Nuit de l'Homme, or the formulation of the La Nuit de l'Homme that I've got. It's about a year old or so, so I don't know if it's been reformulated since, but that doesn't last on me but for maybe a couple hours, and it's very, very soft. Okay, next up is their clone of Vodka on the Rocks by Bye Killian. Now, I do have a sample of Vodka on the Rocks, but it's unlabeled and it's mixed up with a bunch of other unlabeled samples, so I can't really, like, I don't know, man. I give up on that, but I do kind of remember what it smells like. However, I can't say exactly if this is like 90% or 95% similar. I'm not going to lie to you guys because I can't test it out side by side. Whenever I first sprayed this, I didn't quite get a Vodka on the Rocks, like in my memory, I didn't quite get a Vodka on the Rocks vibe, but after it dried down, it was starting to be like, okay, yeah, that reminds me of what I remember Vodka on the Rocks smelling like. It is a kind of like vodka and tonic water type scent. It's not a boozy scent, because vodka isn't a boozy type whiskey bourbon type smell. But I really like this, and I was actually, when I tested it, I was surprised with how good performance I got, because this again is not one of those projection or sillage monsters, and it is a very light type scent, but it stuck around for a good while, and I really think that this would actually be a nice, fresh office scent. I mean, I don't think it smells so much like alcohol, like vodka, that somebody would smell and be like, oh my god, this person's an alcoholic, or they were drinking in the break room or whatever, but it's just a really nice, fresh scent. And I think one could pull it off really well in the summertime whenever they're working in the office. Okay, next up is Scentual Obsession's version of Creed Viking. And I know Creed Viking was a very divisive fragrance for people. People seem to either love it or they hated it. I personally really, really liked it, and so the story goes, my grandfather is a giant Minnesota Vikings fan. He loves anything Viking, and he went with me. I went to go visit them down in Florida. He went with me to a Nordstrom or wherever the heck it was that we went, and I was smelling fragrances, and he walked by a fragrance booth that had Creed Viking there, and he stops me. He's like, hey, this says Viking on the bottle. I was like, oh yeah, that must be the new Creed Viking. And he's like, well, it says Viking on the bottle. And I was like, yeah, right. He's like, well, how much is this? And we asked the lady how much it was, and I don't think it mattered what the price was. They could have said any price, and just because it said Viking on it, he was gonna get it. So he's like, okay, I'll take one of those. And he doesn't even wear colognes. I think that's like his only bottle of cologne is Creed Viking. But anyways, he put that on. That's the first time I smelled it, and I really, really liked it. But anyway, so how does this stand up? Based off my memory of what Creed Viking smelled like, this is very similar. It is a spicy but slightly minty, so it's strange. It's like a spicy yet fresh fragrance because of that mint or the spearmint that's in it. It is kind of a classic old school type smelling fragrance. Some people say it's like a niche Old Spice, and I could kind of see where they're coming from. I also have a clone by Alexandria Fragrances of Creed Viking, and I really, really like that one too. However, I do feel that the Alexandria version does have a little bit more of a bubblegummy note to it. It's almost like big red bubblegum with like a little bit of mint to it. I still like it a lot, and I wear it all the time. But I think if I had to choose, it would probably be Scentual Obsessions in terms of the scent goes. I don't know how, I haven't really tested this out enough to see how the performance is, and it's still maturing. I do get really good performance out of Alexandria's Creed Viking, but I don't know how great the performance is of Scentual Obsessions. I just know that I prefer the actual scent of this one. Plus, I mean, and the price is really good too. So this one is another win for me. Next up is their clone of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. Now, I don't know if anybody ever heard the story of whenever I almost bought Tobacco Vanille based off of how it smelled on a tester strip. But whenever I tried it on my skin, right before I was about to pull the trigger, I was like, well, let's see what this smells like on my skin. On my skin, it just did not smell good at all. It was like sickeningly sweet. It smelled like raw honey almost. And it's really funny because my fiance did not like the way it smelled on a tester strip, but she loved the way it smelled on my skin. But anyways, I ended up getting a sample of Alexandria Fragrance's version of Tobacco Vanille, and I really liked the way it smelled on my skin. And this one, very, very similar. I like the way it smells on my skin. It does remind me of what Tobacco Vanille smelled like on the tester strip and on my skin. It doesn't have that super sickeningly sweet honey vibe. It's just like this vanilla tobacco, almost chai tea type scent. Chai tea or chai latte, I don't know. I don't drink those things, but that's what my fiance said it smells like. It smells like a chai something. So whatever that is, I'll have to ask her. But yeah, I really like the smell of this, and this one does have really good performance. I wore a spray of it on my chest at work, and it was with me for many, many hours. I lost track of trying to, you know, put my nose in my shirt to smell it. I don't wear a lot because I do work in a hospital setting, so I really just do like one little spray on my chest, and just so that I can smell it. And so sometimes I'll just put my nose in my shirt to see if I can smell it or not. And yeah, I was smelling this throughout the day. I work 12.5-hour shifts, and I don't remember when I stopped trying to check for it, but I mean, I don't remember a time that I checked for it and I didn't smell it. And a lot of times if I was like moving a lot and my shirt kind of like puffed like this, it would kind of puff up into my nose and I could smell it. So yeah, I really like this. I can't tell you exactly if it's like 100% spot on with Tobacco Vanille because like I don't have it side by side right now, but based off of my memory of whenever I tested it, it does smell very, very similar. Last but not least is the Scent of Peace. Now, I was a little disappointed, but then again, happy too, because this is actually a clone of the women's version of the Scent of Peace. I have a sample of the men's version. This smells nothing like it. My mom has 2 bottles of Bond No. 9 Scent of Peace, and this smells extremely similar to it. Okay, so it smells really, really good, but it's the women's version. But my fiance really, really likes it. I'm sure I'm gonna have my mom smell this, and she likes Scent of Peace for her so much that she'll probably buy this too to save on spraying her 2 bottles of the real deal. But yeah, this smells very, very good, very potent. This is a very good women's fragrance. Amity, my fiance, likes it, and she's gonna be wearing this, and who knows, maybe she'll buy a bottle of it. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Sorry that it took me so long to come out with another video. The next one's probably gonna be in the new place, so I'm looking very much forward to that, and hopefully you guys too for some reason. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.